And back then, like the volume and intensity that Oscar trained out was absurd.
Yeah.
They doing 3-hour workouts.
Yeah. And then cardio, he'd get him on the step mill, and Oscar would stand next to him on the step mill and control the speed of the step mill while he just suffered. I mean, it was brutal. It's like sending your wife to the mall with your credit card. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding Reacts. We are rolling fresh. We have no preparation at all. We're going to hop right into a reaction video here. Of course, Dusty Hanshaw, Scott McNally, myself, Big Ron Partlow. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
Yes.
IamMutant.com. Go to IamMutant.com. Get your ISO surge. Get your all in. And everybody get on the gear. And remember, Dusty 20, Big Ron 20. Save yourself 20%. Greene Overkill. This video... This DVD, I should say. This was one of the final DVDs. This was the tail end of the DVD era, would you say, guys?
It really was, wasn't it? Yeah. Mike Bolsonella, a great director too. Like
good friend of ours.
He did such
I haven't
an
talked to Mike
amazing
in
job.
years, and I still consider him a friend.
Yeah, he did such an amazing job with these. And so what was the deal here, Ron? Kai and Oscar went out to Vegas for the Olympia like super early, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I remember so, I can't remember what year this was. You'll have to refresh me, Scott. But Kai was looking for the win. Obviously, he had already been second to Phil, I believe. So he was looking for the win. And so they thought, well, let's go to Vegas early and we'll do like the full camp there, be at home in the suffering and, living out of a motel room and all that sort of stuff. And I think the plan was that it would make him better, but in hindsight, they just completely burned him out. And he didn't have the best showing. Now, I don't remember where he placed, but I just remember that it was seen as like kind of a letdown year for Kai. But this video is hardcore. Like, he trains hard in this video. And they're like, doing all like, the crazy diet, like hard,
2009 preparation for the 2009. It says 2010 Arnold champ, and it says I think it said 2009 prep is what this was.
Yeah, and I think now what's he just like? They're just cooking pounds of white fish in that hotel room, and the hotel room. They know they just, that hotel room still smells like fish
to this day.
Anybody who hasn't seen it either, this isn't like a nice hotel.
No, they were like
they're
Spartans,
rocking it like
right?
an extended stay, basically. So,
so he just did 4 plates
or the hour.
Now, was that 4 plates or 5 plates he just benched, Scott? We were too busy talking.
Oh yeah, he
had
pulled
5
one.
on there.
Yeah.
Okay, so he did 5 plates.
Dropped
then
4.
they strip a plate, 4 plates to. So yeah, I mean, he's just,
And back then, like the volume and intensity that Oscar trained out was absurd.
Yeah.
They doing 3-hour workouts.
Yeah. And then cardio, he'd get him on the step mill, and Oscar would stand next to him on the step mill and control the speed of the step mill while he just suffered. Yeah, I mean, it was brutal. It's like sending your wife to the mall with your credit card. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a really, this is Ron, this is another one that we had when I had my stores. So, like, I literally know every
so you've seen this one like 100
video.
times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's incredible because, like you said, I think it's a lesson for people to learn. Guys want to get into prep and they want to just like let them, just let it run their entire life. And there's something to be said about just doing what you need to do in the gym, doing what you need to do with your diet, and then just kind of, like you said, Ron, like let it run in the background.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't let him escape it, and the only thing he was allowed to think about for, I think it was 6 weeks, was this, ruined him.
Yeah, burned him out.
Hey,
Where
Dusty,
did he place?
pull your mic in a little bit.
I don't remember what he placed in this. It was probably a horrendous, like, second through fourth. Let me look.
Yeah.
Well, I know 09 was that crazy top 6, right? So Kai fell to 4th that year, so it was really disappointing for him, right? Branch was 2nd, Dexter was 3rd, and then Kai came in 4th.
Right.
Phil Heath in 5th. Jay Cutler was still Mr. Olympia.
So Oscar tweaked
the
something.
Jay smoked everybody.
And Oscar tweaked something here because he's literally trying to keep up with Kai Greene, one of the best athletes in the world, and do all the workouts with him. I wonder, because Oscar was a good bodybuilder in his own day. I wonder how much he, progressed, how much he gained until obviously he burnt himself out like this.
Yeah. No, I just do like one set of every exercise with him, just to have fun,
If I did that, that would still be 3 of my workouts. If
it would be
just did
normal
one
volume,
set of
triple your volume,
I also love Kai's the only one that wears a hoodie, and that's what it looks like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those aren't leggings. Those are regular sweats, too. You know what I mean?
Arms just
like
plastered
4XLs.
Right?
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Well, I remember Kai was like the first person I saw who had normal gas pants on, and they were like super tight.
Right.
And I was like, those are normal gas pants. Those are like the big baggy straight leg ones, and they're just like super tight on him.
So what's funny, Ron? The first time that I saw Kai was actually in Germany at McFit.
Oh yeah,
and there's this particular one has stairs where you're going up and down. I'm coming down and he's coming up.
Yeah,
and it's the first time in my life that a man walked past me, and I was like, I can't believe I'm going to do this. It's like it's a woman. I stopped and looked.
Yeah, you had to turn, huh? Because
I was like, I gotta see this again. Like my brain, and mind you, at this point in my career, like I've seen everybody.
Yeah.
He was just that freaky, and he was completely covered up, and that's what made it so freaky. Is I was like, I think he was in something kind of like what he's wearing here. That was actually a Max Muscle jacket and pant outfit, and I owned the pants, and it was like the biggest pair of pants you could have ever seen, and they were painted on his quads, and my quads you couldn't even tell were in there when I wore the same pair. So yeah, it was really good for my ego for sure.
Wonder how many total sets he was doing here.
Oh, they're doing like 30 sets of chest and shit. Yeah.
Well, Scott, he did that year round. I mean, Ron knows this. When we'd be out of town, he would go to the gym, warm up for a time period, 30 minutes plus.
Right.
Then go through a full workout, then do his stretching for an hour, then do cardio, and then come back. And that was like, I remember, I can't remember what his name was, but used to have to go with him everywhere. And like, he'd say, this is my night. I'll be here for 5 hours.
You're kidding.
The guy used to drive Kai around for MHP.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And I remember him telling us about that. And also Dana and Rob. Remember Dana and Rob used to hang out with Kai a lot, right? Because they were all, MHP guys, like Muscle Meds, under the same banner for a long time. And so they became really good friends. And I remember Dana and Rob expressing many times, they're like, we went to the gym with Kai, so, we didn't get back to the hotel till like 2 a.m.
Oh,
like,
God.
Yeah.
Like they would say that, like, so, that's just what happens when you go to the gym with Kai. Like that was like a thing everyone would kind of express. Like if you're riding with Kai, it's going to be like 3 hours at least to get back to the hotel, and maybe 4, you know what I mean? And it just became a thing everyone knew.
Well, that was because 2 people asked him one question. So there's an hour and a half.
Yeah. Just like massive warm-ups, huge workouts, tons of stretching, just like
look at the legs
Yeah.
in those pants. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I wish more people knew how big those pants were to make it make sense. By the way, who doesn't love
Not
that
tights.
gym, by the way?
Those aren't tights.
No.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
You should
man.
definitely watch this video though if you haven't.
Oh, yeah.
because
There's so
I
much
think
more to it,
The work
right?
that he put into this video really did bring it to life. I mean,
skip to legs, like find the leg workout.
Let me see. I think it might be in another video here
Separate
because that
videos.
was.
I believe he
there's-
squats real heavy. I can't remember what he does.
This looks like
But,
it might be some links. Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds with this garbage mint mobile. This won't actually be in the video, but come on.
All right, let's see if
I
we can find some links
Mike's.
here.
I like Mike's documentary style.
Oh yeah.
There's so much that we're not catching here. Let's see if I can find some leg training here, though.
So this is a great video to watch.
That's
It's not
chest
that,
again.
it's
Oh, there it is.
2009. So it's not that far removed from now. I mean, it's only like, 15 years ago, approximately, getting there. And, with the social media age, like there's a lot of people now that see this level as like super glamorous, but just go watch this video. They're living in like a cheap hotel. Like it's a motel,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like a motel
Yep.
with a kitchenette.
Yeah.
There's a dump.
Yeah. They're just like staying in this dump, and the food he's eating is just like,
Yeah. No spices.
plain
Whatever.
white fish with like green beans on it, like just crazy level of it's very, very monk like very ultra sacrifice level sort of stuff that is like we said, unnecessary at the end, but makes for an interesting viewing to see what he was at this level, and living like that. So it's just funny.
And it kind
I
of.
think it's. Go ahead, Ron. Or Scott.
I was just going to say it kind of affected the way that like certain vocabulary I might use. Like I might say like, oh, this last few days we got to go Oscar Arden level on the
Right.
before we get into the show, because
Right.
like Oscar was doing everything. Oscar just had everything, and that, like you were saying, Ron, it was just all he had to do was just focus on the bodybuilding. He didn't even have to think about the cooking. He didn't even have to think about how many ounces it was. He didn't have to think at all other than the bodybuilding and the posing, and he spent his time drawing in between. But I couldn't handle that. You know what I mean? Like just yeah. And it proved
No
it might
way.
not have been for the best either.
I think it's good to look back at, though. The only thing I caution anyone watching this is if you're retired from the sport, you probably shouldn't watch it because it might pull you back in.
What do you mean?
Like,
How so?
because there's something about like nothing really. I don't watch motivational things, but this
Yeah.
wasn't made to be motivational. It was made to be here's what we are.
Yeah.
And there's something about anyone who's done their best. Obviously, probably no one watching this is ever going to be on his level, but really put everything into something. They realize there is a weird addiction to going too far. Like anyone who's done a prep where they did more than they should have, and I know I've referenced it a million times, my favorite prep, because the mental battles and the victories of slaying those dragons is just, it's worth it, and it's something you can never replicate, in my opinion. Like what he went through here once he retired from competing.
Yeah.
And actually, even when he got, smarter with competing, he never got to replicate, but it has an impact on your full career. I mean, when you've done a prep like that, every prep after it feels easy, no matter how hard it is,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just think it's the part of bodybuilding that I like the best. So watching it makes you go, ooh, yeah, I should probably turn this off.
What's Oscar saying here?
Hold on, I rolled past it to get back into the training. Let me roll it back here.
The quality of competitors coming in here are much higher than the Arnold. So how do we face new competition or achieve a goal that we never achieved before by doing things that we haven't done before, pushing the body harder than we pushed before?
So there you have it. It's just all about doing more than they've ever done before. That was the mentality of the prep,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely worth watching, because there's a point in this where he actually does like push too far. I think it might actually be this video or this segment where literally during the workout, I think Oscar realized we've went too far. And he like takes him back to the hotel, and then he has him skip cardio for the night.
Yeah,
And, like,
I remember that.
Yeah, he definitely was like, ooh. So I think he realized, but it's one of those hindsights where when you look back all the way, you're like, oh man, this was way, way too far. It wasn't that night.
Isn't
Yeah.
what happened? I think what happens is he recognizes Kai's fucked. Whoops, there's a phone for you. And he says, let's skip cardio. And then they go back to the hotel, and Kai eats and like relaxes. And then doesn't Kai look at him and say,
Wants to go back.
I can do cardio now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that this?
Love the time too.
Yeah, it's like 11:30 at night. Isn't it
Yeah.
11:30
Yeah.
at night?
Yeah.
How about that Body Masters leg press too? I
miss
never used that.
I
but
miss
I'd like
that
to try
gym
it.
so much. That gym was awesome. Dungeon gym.
So what's he doing all day?
Kai's frustration.
I know. That's what I'm thinking too.
His mortal flesh.
Like, how do you get to the gym at 11:30 at night?
There it is. This is where he's starting to fall apart.
Whenever you catch your breath, going down to a plate, I need you to get your hamstring stretched for 15 more.
When any man, or any person, and any individual embarks on a journey, in the path of achieving something that challenges their best, challenges them in a way to bring forth their best connection with their concentration, the most focusedness of their thoughts, you end up having to stop and think, well, why am I doing this? Because at times it can become overwhelming.
None of this is what I expected to see here. Is Vegas Kai's sanctuary or his prison?
There are times when it felt like both. I think the times when it felt more like a prison would be the times when you might have needed to stop and reassess, who you were and why you're doing this. In fact, you're there in a purpose to exact your will on, a circumstance, to bring your will into fruition, to create the reality that you want. So I guess in doing that reasoning, you realize that, well, I'm not in a prison at all, and should it start to look like that, it may mean that, hey, I need to refocus my thinking. Maybe I'm getting away from the right thoughts that keep me grounded in the path of increase.
This is a case where even failure is
That was
success.
remember they're listening to
Motivational,
motivational
Tony
music.
Robinson and stuff.
I'm losing my mind. Like, like
I would lose it.
gets
I would
done with
lose
that workout. Like, he doesn't need any more motivation. You got to love that this is the first reaction we've done where we just kind of watched for a little bit and listened, because it was that, like,
Well, that was
like,
perfect chunk.
You don't want to speak over that. You're going to ruin what they're trying to watch. So
Yeah.
You couldn't
gotta
have been
watch
better
this
titled
video.
too. It really couldn't be better
yeah.
titled Overkill.
Yeah. It's interesting, looking back on it, and also too a good reminder of like what a freak Kai was. And all those memories I have, like, of, think of all the pros I've ever seen multiple times in person.
Yeah.
Who always looked crazy.
Yeah.
Kai's one of the guys that always looked crazy. Didn't matter what he's wearing. Doesn't matter how many layers he had on. He just looks, you're just like, geez, Kai, like, you just look crazy. Some of the other guys can hide it,
Yeah.
and it just wasn't hideable, and what a freak. So good times. Okay, everybody, that's been an It's Just Bodybuilding Reacts featuring Kai Greene Overkill by our good friend Mike Pulcinella and Dusty Hanshaw, Scott McNally. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring that bell.
Ring the bell. Train hard as balls. There you go. Remember, IamMutant.com. Dusty20, Big Ron 20. Get your 20% off. Get your ISO Surge. Get your all in. And everyone should get on the gear. Okay, thanks, everybody. Remember, it's just bodybuilding. Reacts.